Welcome back to another episode of Unraveling the Brain with Dr. Josh Madsen. I, of course, am not Dr. Josh Madsen. I'm Kyle Hogan, and I'm here to talk with some of our wonderful providers here to get to know them a little bit better so that people can put a face and personality with a lot of the great people that we have here at Infinity. So, Dr. Ashley, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi. Okay. I'm Dr. Ashley Wallenhouse, and I am from a really small town in Canada. So I grew up just north of the border. And yeah, I grew up there, came to the US for college, did my grad school here. And then I was working out in Phoenix, just at a small practice, just outside of Phoenix, about 20-ish minutes. And I was working there, and a person who actually used to intern for Dr. Josh, she was hired in our practice. And when my husband and I decided to move to Des Moines, well, she was like, "Oh, you should look into the practice." And
Small world.
so, yeah, that's kind of a little bit about me and kind of how I got here. But
What made you want to move from, go seek out higher education in a whole other country? Yeah, I know that Canada, U.S., not wildly different, but I mean, it's still a border to cross, so.
yeah, I played soccer in college, so that's
Oh,
kind of
neat.
what drew me down here.
Is there not a lot of opportunity for that up north, or?
Um, there is a little bit. I would say that the competition piece is a lot different in the US, but yeah.
Is athleticism kind of what you initially went to college and everything for? Did you have in mind that you wanted to go down this path or where you're at now, or what was your intent there?
Yeah, I did my undergrad in biology pre-professional.
Okay.
So I was tossing between a few different paths, naturopathic, doctor, chiropractic, and pharmacy. Those were kind of my three that I was like looking into a little bit more.
Neat.
Yeah.
What about those were appealing at the time?
They were all within the medical realm. My father is a pharmacist,
Oh, neat.
and so that was kind of the one that was kind of more on the medical side, whereas the rest was more alternative based. So,
There has to be a lot of science and math behind all of that. Was
yeah.
that exciting to you, or is that something that kind of it's like I'd rather be a little more hands-on than having to do all that?
Yeah, I like math and sciences. Yeah.
Okay, neat.
So that was pretty easy for me.
So what then took you to Phoenix? Was it just an internship opportunity? You wanted to go somewhere warmer, or
Both.
okay,
Yeah, so I got my first job out in Phoenix. So graduated school. One of my really good girlfriends from undergrad, she was also starting a job out there. So her and I lived out there together, and yeah,
fun.
yeah,
So is that out there where you met your husband, or
yeah,
where?
yeah.
Okay, neat. So
Mhm.
how old are you? Similar field or what? Tell me a little bit about him.
He's an engineer,
Oh wow,
so we're not the same. Uh,
vastly different
yeah,
worlds. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, so he was out there for work, and so was I, and kind of met through mutual friends, and
neat.
yeah, here we are.
And then Iowa. What
And then Iowa, yeah.
what was the determiner there? Did
He's
he have
originally
family?
from here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, neat.
yeah,
Central Iowa area or
yeah.
fun.
hmm
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely miss the Phoenix weather. That's for sure. I don't know. You and your wife, you guys lived in Colorado for a little bit?
She did.
She did. Okay.
She lived there and then ended up moving back, and then we reconnected.
Yeah. So maybe she knows a little bit more too of how it feels to be in a place with a lot of mountains and then move back to the Midwest. Sometimes it can be a little bit challenging on the, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We just got back from some time down in Colorado, and if it wasn't for the cats, we might have stayed out there. So
Mm,
it was difficult to come back from, but it's just such a beautiful place, and it just feels like you're a little closer to nature. There's a little more
mm,
to do
yeah.
and look at. Not that there's not a ton to do in central Iowa. There's a lot to do, but just that mountain
Feel
environment's just
different.
nothing like it.
hmm
Um, so then, how did all of that evolve out here, getting to work with Infinity? Was it even called Infinity? I know that you two have been connected for a while, so
Yeah. So it was still called Infinity.
okay.
Yeah, it was just primarily Dr. Josh and myself were the only two docs full time
Okay.
when I started working here. The office definitely looked a lot different than what it does now.
Was it still in this space, just at the far end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just slowly expanding. Um, yeah, it's been so awesome just to see that transformation of the office. I mean, when I first started, we primarily saw local patients
Okay.
and maybe had a handful of intensives. Um, and all of those came from just word of mouth of what we do in the office and the patients that we treat, how we treat them. And I am sure a lot of people watching can understand how much connection that you can get through parent forums of people with X condition or X
Yeah.
diagnosis,
Social media
social
groups and
media,
yeah.
Facebook groups, all of that. And that's kind of how we originally grew. It was just people saying, hey, this made a really big difference in my child. And
Man,
so, yeah, we started not a lot of um, intensives from far away. It was mainly like Midwest based. And then slowly but surely, it was more Southern. Okay. It was international. Okay. It was,
was the first international one like, whoa, somebody from overseas just booked or found out about us?
well, I
What
think
what
our
was that
first
like?
international was Canadian.
Okay.
So I don't know if that one really counts, but yeah, it just started to be the norm that every week we would have at least one international. And all of a sudden, I feel like it's almost half of our patients every week are international.
Do you ever just walk down the long hallway and just think, how did we get here from where we started? Does it ever seem daunting, or does it feel like it's been a natural evolution, or what's really like
Mm,
pushed things from where things began to where we're at now?
that's a really great question. I think when you do amazing work and you see big changes in a bunch of kids, it's crazy to not want to tell other people and to not want, I mean, the people that you know and love or think that, hey, maybe this could help you to find out about it. So while, yes, it's really crazy because I'm like, okay, we live in Des Moines, Iowa, and there's people flying all over the world. But I know that what we have here is so special and cannot be replicated.
Yeah.
So,
What are some of the things that you think make Infinity stand out from? I mean, even the street that we're located off of, you go down and you see chiropractic signs
yeah,
all the way down the stretch. What do you think,
yeah.
sets Infinity apart?
Well, I definitely think that Dr. Josh and Larissa hire the absolute best people for this office. And I applaud them all the time for just making sure that this feels like a family environment and everyone that is brought onto the team is so genuine and cares about each and every family that walks in the office. And I think that's awesome. And that's the only thing that you can um, really look for in a clinic is knowing that everyone that is working on your child with your child like loves them wholeheartedly. So
Did you ever have, well, I'm sure you have, but do you remember like a very early victory that made you feel like, oh yeah, I'm definitely in the right place, or I was meant to be here, or
throughout my time here in the office, there's definitely a handful of patients that have a special place in my heart. And I look back on and I'm like, man, the Lord has definitely put me in this place for a reason. So yeah.
now one thing that I know about you just from how you talk about your life is that you're a very spiritual person, that
Hmm.
your faith is very important to you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that plays into your every day here at work and how you approach your care with patients, or what correlation or impact do you think that has?
Mm, yeah. I think that you have spiritual gifts that you can bring to help serve your patients, and each and every one of us, we all have different types of gifts that we get, and just knowing what gifts we have and how we can best serve and utilize them. So
Oh,
yeah.
I feel like we've hit a lot of my questions already organically. This is going
Oh,
really
well,
nice.
great.
So has your faith been like a lifelong thing, like were you raised kind of in that environment, or is that something you discovered more as an adult, or?
Yeah, definitely more as an adult. I grew up going to Catholic mass and kind of just went to church as you do. And it definitely wasn't until my latter half of my life where I just like came to know the Lord and had a true relationship with Him. But
That's great.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
What I know that we really focus here on a younger population. Was that something that when you went to school and early in your career you thought that you would be working primarily with younger patients, or did that just kind of become happenstance being here at Infinity?
Yeah, I primarily in my old clinic worked with infants and moms. And the infants that we did have, we were trying to get primitive reflexes to be there. So it's kind
Interesting.
of full circle that now I'm working with a
Oh,
population where I'm trying to get rid of these primitive reflexes. So definitely slightly different demographic. And I've learned so much from being here and just evolving and seeing different cases. And I mean,
was
if
that a
there's
goal in school, or did that just
all outside of school
okay?
primarily. But yeah, if there's one thing that I've learned at Infinity, it's every day is so different and we see so many different kids of it's amazing, right? Because you learn so much when you see just a vast majority of just different patients with different things going on. And it's so true of if you've met an autistic child, you have met one autistic child because they're all so vastly different and
Yeah,
not one is the same. So
absolutely. Just from like just my walkthroughs and filming, like every single patient is vastly different. Yeah,
mhm,
there's a lot of overlap and things that we do to address certain things and in our care and in our therapies that we do. But I mean, between the order in which they're done
yeah.
and how much time is spent on them, and
Mhm.
what activities are even done, it's every case is vastly unique,
Yeah,
and every kiddo is so unique. And
yeah.
I love that this environment at Infinity. I know I tell this story every chance that I get, but in my interview process, when I came in here and I was just finished up talking with Josh and people and was
Mhm.
walking down the hallway, and I heard outside of one of the rooms a, "Hey, great job today. I'm really proud of all the hard work that you did." And the kid will be like, "Oh, thanks." Yeah, I was
Mm.
just very appreciative of that. And I thought, what a sweet thing for that individual person to have done. I have no recollection of
Yeah, who actually said
who
it.
it was, because I was just passing and
Yeah.
every face was completely new to me at that point. And then I got up front, and somebody else was there with the kiddo saying, "All right, have a great day. I'm proud of all the work that you did." And just
Mm.
that positive reinforcement here.
Mhm.
I thought, oh, okay, that wasn't just a one off thing that, there's one really nice person here. I mean, everybody seems nice, but that was a particularly nice thing. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, everybody is particularly nice. That's just the standard here of
yeah.
how, I think that positive reinforcement, whether it's through, um, the activities and the therapies that we do, but
Mhm.
also just on that personal and emotional side of just saying, "Hey, great work," or "I'm proud of you," or "I know that
Mm.
you can do it." And that constant encouragement
Mhm.
and recognition of hard work goes such a long way, because it
Yeah,
could very easily just be like, "All right, next activity," or like, "All right, we're done, next thing, and
for sure.
see you tomorrow." Like, that's not here. And I love that. And I love that I see that every day. Like, part of the very cynical side of me at the very beginning was like, all right, I
Yeah.
wonder when that's going to start tapering off. And it never has. If
Yeah.
anything else, we've just gotten more people who are even more enthused and see it through fresh eyes and
Mm.
keep reinvigorating just that positive reinforcement. So
Yeah,
I love that here.
for sure. If there's one thing, we're all nice, but we also all care, right? It's
Yeah.
one thing to just be nice, and it's another thing to truly care. And
It's a genuine kindness.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And
You have good people here.
I feel like you get that back then from the parents too,
Mm.
where I
We also have great parents too. Yeah.
exactly, but and I
Yeah.
feel like it makes a difference when you approach people, just hearing how some of the interactions of talking to people like they're humans
Mhm.
and not like a, well, we're reading off this thing,
A
you
case
need this, and trying
number.
to
Yeah.
push things. It's just a, hey, we see you, we see your child, we see the whole family dynamic, and everybody's on the same team here.
Yeah, we're all
How do
trying to
we
get the same goal.
exactly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So I know that you absolutely love doing videos.
Oh
It's your
my
favorite
goodness.
thing.
Okay.
Do you have any favorite ones that you've worked on that you look back and as much as you're like, I don't love being on camera, but I really like how that turned out, or just the message that you try and uh, convey? Yeah,
Yeah. I would say I don't have a favorite yet.
fair.
But I would say is the reason why we do these things is to help educate families, to help spread the word that, hey, this is the kind of work that we're doing. And I always try to keep that in my mind as I'm doing my 100th take of one video.
You
But
are one of the lesser take folk around here. I'll be very honest with you.
you don't have to say names, but I think I have.
Oh, I'll say names when their podcasts come up.
Okay, deal. But yeah, I would say I don't have a favorite yet, but I do just love how much good education that we put out there and help families who like see one video and are like, that is my child. Okay, this makes so much sense. So when they get that aha moment is kind of the only reason as to why I'm out there being silly, making videos on the internet for sure.
I feel like so many people out there just feel isolated and alone, that to know that there's
Mm,
somebody, not that anybody takes joy in somebody else going through the same thing, but to know
no,
that they're not alone, and to
yeah.
say, oh, other people are going through this too. Oh, and not only that, but other people have found the help through
Mhm.
that. That
And
has
this
to,
worked and this didn't. And
yeah.
yeah,
Even if they don't end up booking anything, if they see one of our videos and at least know that there's a possibility, or that they're not alone in something, has to just be very,
helpful.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. Yeah. I mean, that is the blessing of social media, I guess, is being able to get good information out there and help families. But as
Yeah.
far as me being behind the camera, not a fan.
I'm still looking forward to, I know we have a few in the pipeline, but when we really kick off the functional
Oh, the
medicine
functional
stuff,
med.
I'm very excited about that.
Me too.
And that's been the functional medicine aspect of things is
Mhm.
something that you've really dove deep into, especially lately.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've always done a little bit of
Yeah.
it, but I've just noticed it a lot more lately.
Yeah.
What about that particular focus has been appealing to you? What's rewarding about it?
Yeah. So we have always ran labs on patients in our office. And I mean, it's the missing puzzle piece, right? Dr. Josh, Dr. Lauren, everyone who works here emphasizes all the time that we need three things for our brain to grow and develop: energy, which ATP, oxygen, and stimulation. Well, if they come here and they're getting two of the three fuel sources for our brain, and they're missing that last piece where diet, supplements, all of that stuff can help kind of fix that gap, well, your child's going to make huge improvements from a long-term perspective. So it's important that, I don't know, full circle, make sure that all of your T's are crossed and your I's are dots when it comes to that. And yeah, so we just started doing more of an online aspect to help other families who maybe do have a really great provider who's helping them. They maybe do have a laser, but they don't have people providing proper testing for them in their area.
So
So
what's your role? Are you kind of the person that coordinates all of that testing?
yeah, so we do online exams and a patient will fill out paperwork. And then from there, we'll order appropriate tests for them. And then those tests will either get shipped to their house or they will go within their local blood draw place and get their blood drawn. And then all of those results will be sent in to us so that we can put together a proper program for you.
So you said the appropriate test. Are
Yeah.
there various tests, and
Oh,
not all of
gosh.
them always apply? What
Yeah.
are
No.
some of the more common and less common tests?
Yeah. So common ones that we run in our office called a neural zoomer. That's a really common one because it looks at brain inflammation, brain autoimmunity. Anything that is neurologically driven is going to be found in a neurological test. So making sure that a child has an appropriate test is so, so important. So that's obviously a common one.
What are some of like the determining factors that are like, okay, if a child is experiencing this, then it correlates to needing this test, or we'll look at that.
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. That's a big question. It is a full big picture approach, right? You need to get the appropriate questions need to be asked. You need to be able to see what's going on with the child, have a proper history in order to actually determine what is the most beneficial for the child. Um, like we look at mold, mycotoxins, we look at heavy metals, we look at environmental toxins, we look at brain autoimmunity, brain inflammation, blood sugar dysregulation, insulin sensitivity. We look at poor oxygen to the brain. There's so many anemia, thyroid dysfunction. Like there's so many tests, and I could probably sit here for about a half hour just going through all of those.
What would a parent have to say, like that their child was experiencing to think to test for mold in the home?
Yeah. I would say it's something where okay, gonna do as best as I can to explain this. But it's more of a one test will show markers of immune dysregulation. And through ruling things out, whether it's infections, whether it's gut dysbiosis, whether it's mold, like we look at all of those pieces that can contribute to that immune dysregulation.
And just start whittling away.
And then we start like looking at what can be the possible causes and getting that full picture.
Neat.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Are there any like favorite modalities or favorite forms of therapy that when you know that you get to do that day with a kiddo that you're especially jazzed about getting to do?
Ooh, so back in the day, we don't do it as much anymore, but we'll do jump battles with the EWAT. And about like a year ago, you would see me jump into Mario on the screen and going tit for tat with a child of jumping to this like little YouTube clip online. But now I feel like a lot of the kids don't really like jumping on the trampoline anymore. They'd rather either run on the treadmill or just do passive oxygen therapy. But
I heard a jump battle the other day that was a Taylor Swift theme, and as I was walking by, I was singing all the songs.
Okay, well, I have not done that one yet, but
it sounded pretty fun. I couldn't tell who was running it, but I was walking by, and You Belong With Me started playing, and I was like, my wife's trained me well.
Teardrops on my guitar. Is that one?
I feel like that wouldn't be one for a jump battle. I feel like it's not quite jazzy enough. That'd be a very slow jump battle, but I do anything Taylor Swift, Yeah. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
So thinking more about the future, like if people think about you and your impact on Infinity and your impact on what you've done for people, what do you want people to remember about you? What do you want to be known for, or hope that people think of when they think of you?
I would just hope that kind of along that same line of people know that I'm on their team and I'm going to fight tooth and nail to figure out the best option for their child, whether it's our office, whether it's not, whether it's additional testing, whether it's different modalities, just figuring out the right fit for their child and what their child specifically needs in order to grow and develop.
I love it. Mm-hmm. What else do you want people to know about you? Is there anything else that you feel like, you want people to know about you when they look at you or get to know you?
Oh gosh, why? Do you have something in mind?
I sure don't. I was just looking for a fun closer.
A fun closer. Well, I feel like a few words and people know that I'm a Canadian pretty quick.
They know that about you?
About? Yeah. Exactly. I say a few times and yeah, my fellow
A for effort.
My fellow friends up north. Yep.
Well, thanks for chatting with me, and hopefully people have gotten to know you a little bit better, and people will be excited to come in and see you when they book intensives. And so if you'd like to get to know Dr. Ashley a little bit better, if you want them to work with you or your child, feel free to book an intensive today, and you can come in and meet the whole team. So
absolutely.
Thanks so much for sitting down with me today.
Of course. Thanks, Cal.